Alright guys, we're just going to jump into this video. This is my third time recording. I've been having a lot of audio issues today, but I'm super excited to talk about this. So today we're going to focus on the Evergreen funnel that you should use as an e-commerce business to generate revenue, right? So if you don't know, I'm Lewis Fawcett. I am one of the founders of Patrick Adair Designs and Patrick Adair Supplies. They're two direct-to-consumer e-commerce companies that generate millions of dollars a year in revenue. And I also own an agency called Fawcett Management where we manage clients' email marketing as well as do some marketing strategy consulting on the side. And our clients do over $50 million a year in revenue. And so we've been around the block. We've seen a lot of things. And this really is the core evergreen funnel that brands use in 2020 for marketing for e-commerce, right? And so the first step of any good marketing funnel is going to be our acquisition channels. And so these channels are anywhere that you can put out either organic content or paid advertisements to get new eyes on your brand. And so in our core evergreen funnel, what you'll see a lot is really kind of the big pair of advertising companies, and that's Facebook and Instagram using the Facebook advertising platform, and then Google and YouTube using the Google advertising platforms. And those are the two most common, but you'll always see, your brands that are doing really well on TikTok, Pinterest advertising. We see some that do Bing really well. Snapchat's also really popular. And all of these platforms are really just being used to drive traffic to your brand. And so where are you driving that traffic? And most often than not, it's going to be your homepage. That's what's most common right now for brands. And that's why it can be so important to have a high converting homepage. And that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be crazy designed. We have clients that do tens of millions of dollars a year in revenue, whose homepages they've designed themselves just by honing in on the copy that really resonates with their audience. The other place that you'll be driving traffic to a lot of the time are landers. And that's any time we can get a campaign that's a little more specific. So you'll see we do it with Patrick Adair Designs with our ring sizer and our wedding campaigns. We do it with Patrick Adair Supplies with our subscription box. Also see a lot of companies run it for things like quizzes and email capture for specific audience segments so they can change some headlines around. Then the next step of this funnel is your collection pages. And that's because once we've got them on the homepage, they've read some copy, we want them to browse your products and find the products that are going to resonate the most with themselves. So that's going to be done by going to the collection pages. From the collection page, you're hoping they'll click on a product, and that takes us to what you'll hear in the industry is often called a PDP, or a product description page. And that's where they can see your product images, read the product description, have some testimonials, some options. And then from there, it's really just the two parts of the checkout process, right? They can add the product to their cart, and then they can initiate the checkout. And so adding it to their carts where they can see how much it costs, maybe add in a couple other items. And then the checkout process is where they can give you your payment information, your shipping information, things like that. And they can actually send you money and you send them the product. And I know this funnel seems really simple, and now I know this seems really simple and basic, but that's because our evergreen strategy should be fairly simple and basic and just done to perfection so that we can always be sending traffic through them and not trying to switch between niche strategy here, niche strategy here, niche strategy here. We just have this core of our business that can drive, $50, $100, $200, $300,000 a month in revenue, really not on autopilot, but without needing you to spend hundreds of man hours keeping it running. And then the way we optimize this, right, is we're going to have people leave in between steps on this funnel all the time. And so that's where we use our remarketing to keep them back in. So now we're going to go back up here to our collection page and our home page, our landers. And what do we do if they leave at this step? And we really have two options, right? Throughout this process, we'll talk about our paid marketing options, which eventually, as we get farther and farther down the funnel, are really going to be fairly repetitive. It's just that our audiences are getting tighter and tighter, and we know they're about to purchase, so our costs go down, and that's why we segment based on them. And then we have our email marketing options, because that's what we focus on at Fawcett Management. And these usually are tweaks in strategy based on where the customer is that send them to different automated flows. And so here at the homepage, lander, collection pages, we're really just doing generic mid-funnel retargeting. And so that's where we're going to focus on UGC, customer testimonials, unboxing, really hit those value propositions. And that's going to happen on all those platforms we already talked about, your Facebooks, your Google, YouTube. And then on the email marketing side, we're actually not going to speak specifically to anything, because this is where they should be going through your welcome flow to learn more about who you actually are as a brand. But then once we push them down to that product description page, that's where we can have a little more fun. So in our paid side, we now know what products they've been looking at, so we can start to really create some strategies around, okay, well, we know they've been looking at this collection of t-shirts. They looked at these 2 specific t-shirts there. So let's show them banners of those t-shirts the next time they're on a website that uses Google AdSense, or next time they're somewhere where we can do Google shopping retargeting, let's show them pictures of those t-shirts. And then on our email side, we're going to use tech integrations with things like Klaviyo to show them a browse abandonment email, which is going to say, hey, we saw you looked at these specific products. Here's an email that just shows you these products with a description that's usually auto-populated from the product description or somewhere like that of those products, to just keep it top of mind. Because what we're really hoping is that we'll see what they really like by adding it to the cart. And then once they add it to the cart, we can get more targeted. And that's where we have our abandoned cart emails and then our abandoned cart advertisements. And so our advertisements, that's usually going to be where we lean really heavily into like our Facebook bottom funnel DPA advertisements. We're going to use we might do some horizontal scaling with YouTube where we're showing just YouTube ads for the products they've looked at, dynamic search retargeting, things like that. And then on our emails, we're going to really focus on those products they've added to their cart. And then a lot of the time, we're going to do some flow segmenting based on the characteristics of that product. If it's in X price range, if it's in Y collection, we're going to tweak the emails to look like this or to talk about this to really get over the objections for that specific product. And then at the next step, the initialize checkout, And so then at the next step, when they initiate the checkout but abandon, we're going to do all of that same things. And that's where we really start to hit them, especially in the email marketing. We'll usually send a flow that has 3 emails that are all direct response. And usually they'll get them within 2 days. So we'll send one at the 2-hour mark, one at the 20-hour mark, and then one at the 24-hour mark after that. So they get one almost immediately, one after 1 day, and one after 2 days. And the reason we do this is because we'll see most brands generate anywhere, and obviously this depends on your AOV, what you're selling, but you generate anywhere from $5 to $12 per recipient for those emails. So that means if you're getting 100 abandoned checkouts a day, you're leaving $500 to $1,000 of revenue on the table every single day just by ignoring those. And that's kind of why so many of our clients love working with us, is because we immediately help them recapture that. And then basically everything else we're doing at that point is free, because just that abandoned cart flow and management already covers their monthly expenses of working with faucet management. But then on our paid advertising, we're just doing the same stuff we were doing at the add to cart really, but we can get even more specific. We can focus in on things like, okay, we know they added it to their cart, so now instead of DPA, we're going to focus on our payment plan awareness, things like that. And the reason this funnel works so well, and you want to be so hyper aware of how your brand is performing at every single step on here, is because your profitability is inversely related to where they are in this funnel, right? So if they're at the bottom of this funnel, they're actually at the top of your profitability chart. You might only have to spend a couple dollars on your ad sets per day to drive hundreds of dollars of extra revenue. You only have to send them 1 to 3 emails to make a $50 sale in those flows. And that's because these audience pools are way smaller, because they're already predisposed. They're as far as they can get along the buying process without actually buying. So we just have to find those pain points and then use our email marketing and our paid advertising to really soften them up and push them past them. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything specific you want talked about. I have it scheduled that I'm going to spend an hour each week making one video training. And so right now, as we're just starting, the first people to have questions are probably going to get their questions answered in a full video where we really dissect it. And if you want to take your email marketing to the next level, there's some links in the description where you can find out more about what it's like to work with us. We work with direct-to-consumer brands, SaaS companies, influencers, and infopreneurs. We've worked with everyone. We've seen incredible results with everyone, and I'm super excited to get to know your brand, and I will see you next week.